Good evening, everyone. We are excited that you're joining us tonight for Portraits of Love, and we are so excited that we have Bloomfield's own Keith Claytor of TimeFrozen Photography with us tonight. So, a local photographer, whether you're interested in photography or want to celebrate love with us, either way, we're going to get into all of that in a moment. So, Keith, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And with that, I'm going to turn the program over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rachel. And I'm excited to be here and part of this program, especially with it being as a part of Black History Month and part of all the growth with Bloomfield Public Library. So looking forward to exciting things within the next few months and an upcoming year at the library. So yes, my name is Keith Claytor. I am with the exception of 10 years, a lifelong Bloomfield resident. I was born and raised in Bloomfield and lived in West Hartford for approximately 10 years. And now have been back to being a Bloomfield resident for the better part of about 18 years now. So I know the region, I know the area very, very well, and I'm proud to call our town home. I have been a photographer professionally since 2005 and full-time since 2008. I started out with just really a passion for, I started out with a passion for images. And I thought when I first got started, I was saying to myself, you know what, I love video. I want to be a videographer. And I just went out without kind of in an impulsive sort of a way, which since my wife is on this call, she understands. She's probably nodding. But I kind of, without experience, sometimes put all of my money and resources into new ventures. And so I went and bought a ton of video equipment, and I shot any and everything that I could, and I loved it, and I was having a ball with it. And then it came time to edit the video, and I said, I don't ever want to shoot video again because this editing part just sucks. So I sold all my video gear and said, I think still photography might be it. And I picked up a camera, and that was almost 25 years ago. And around 2000, the first thing that happened, I guess major, was in 2003 when I went to Nigeria for the first time, where my wife's family is from. And of course, if you're going to go to Nigeria, you're going to bring all your gear with you. And so I'm taking photos, and for me, they were vacation photos. But I came back home, and a lot of people were saying, you know what, these photos need to be in a gallery somewhere. You need to be doing something with these photos. And so I started selling the photos for $5 a piece, and and realized that I might have been selling myself short, but in hindsight, but that really just kind of was the spark that got me going. And 2005 was the year that my wife and I got married, and we
All right,
actually
good
had
night.
we had some mutual friends that were also getting married at the same time, same year. And we said, and they were also interested in photography, and said, okay, you know what, you shoot my wedding, I'll shoot your wedding. And that just worked out perfectly. And that's when, we got the bug for wedding photography. And so not just myself, but my wife picked up the camera as well. And so
All
for the
right,
better
just
part
want
of
to make
about
sure you get in the
17
car.
years. Hey, Chaninya, you're not muted.
Oh,
But yeah, for the better part of what, 17, 18 years, we shot weddings together. And it's been an amazing journey. Absolutely love it. Love being able to tell people's love stories, and not just tell the stories, but really be a part of those stories. One thing that I always said when I was meeting with a prospective client was, first thing, and maybe it was because it was before the days of Zoom, or at least it was just getting started, but I always wanted to meet my clients in person. I just thought that it was something that it's a day that I'm going to be spending 12 hours in your face on probably one of the most important days of your life. We need to know that we actually like each other and vibe with each other and enjoy each other's company and enjoy each other's space and have similar goals for the day and for what we want. So that's, that's what I wanted to make sure of was to make sure that I was connecting with the client and vice versa, that they were connecting with me. It was certainly more than it just being a transactional type of environment, type of situation. So I would meet with the client and we would in most cases, man, we would just hit it off and really enjoy each other's company. And so, so when we were there capturing those moments, it was important for people for clients and for couples to be able to feel free to be themselves in front of each other and not think that they are performing for a camera, but that they are just, having authentic, real love moments, and that my job was just to capture them creatively and tell those stories.
Thank you so much, Keith. So that gives us a little bit of an intro into you. So we're really excited to see your work. What do you have for us tonight?
So let's see. So we have I it's funny. I know we had this conversation and the challenge is trying to narrow down um 15 or 20 plus years of photos into my favorite. I kept it under 100. I kept it under 100. But but so what I'll start with, can you just want to make sure that you can see?
Yeah, that looks good.
All right, perfect, perfect. Obviously, this is not a wedding photo, but but one of the things that I always always felt is that wedding photography it is an active business. It is a day where as the photographer you're going to burn some calories and get in your steps. It is absolutely a sport in every sense of the word, and so it's a pretty active thing. And so, this is actually a photo of Chad Dawson, who's a world championship boxer from North Haven, and I was lucky enough to be ringside and follow his career for probably 10 or so of his fights, many of them championship fights. And so that was aside from, I guess we could call it love and hate, because I'm photographing love, but then I'm also photographing people, knocking each other out. But so going into, let's see if we can advance this. There. So going into just some of my favorite images, and what inspires me for these images. One thing that I always love to do is have depth in my image, and so that means having something in the foreground, something in the background, more than just a photo of the couple themselves. So this is one of my favorite images from an engagement session that I did for this couple. They were both diehard UConn students. They met at UConn, and so we went there for their engagement session. And this just happened to be a space where I saw these bricks with some holes in them, and just had them, arrange themselves in the right way. And I just thought that there was a lot of mystery in that image, and it was one of those photos that you can just look at and think. And same couple, and it's a lot of this comes, a lot of photography comes down to seeing things in ordinary spaces, and finding something extraordinary within that space. And so this was just a wall of ivy and some flowers. I'm not a flower guy, so I can't tell you what kind of flowers those were, but they were, it was just a wall of ivy and some flowers. And what I did was, if I just stood there and took a picture of them up against that wall without additional light or anything like that, it would be a nice photograph. But I love putting some creative drama in my images. And so what I did was just add that extra light that was behind them to kind of build a silhouette of them. And you could see that ivy wall, and then that light spilled over into the flowers that were in front. So my thing is to, stand back a little bit and find some different angles and different ways of seeing them. And, this might have been probably the top photo of maybe 20 photos that I would take in that scene. And, you know, it really comes down to just not just taking it and shooting it, but taking it and then moving around and then having them move around and just really, really diving deeper and deeper into the scene to get something extraordinary. Which brings me to telling the story, and that's, you know, that's really our job as photographers. As a photographer, you know, we're entrusted to tell people's love story, and so this was the mother looking on as her daughter was getting dressed for her wedding day. That's the bride's mother. Connection is huge, and again, this comes down to, this image would have been great if I told two people to pose and smile at the camera. But again, giving people the space and the freedom to really authentically be themselves is where you start to see real joy in images. And for, in full disclosure, these are two of my best friends. So this is their engagement session. So it was pretty easy for us to just let loose and have a good time. But my friend Charmaine is an amazing musician, and so we, you know, in this house that we had access to, there was a piano, and we just let them be themselves and experience joy. And this was one of those sessions. And again, time is not, at least for me, I don't put a clock on, you know, on our photo sessions. It's not something where it's a 30-minute session. We spent the afternoon together. And so we spent the afternoon into the evening together, and we had a great time. And again, I think it takes that for people to really, really be able to get comfortable enough to be themselves. And this next series of photos is probably, and I hate to rank weddings, but just from the experience itself, this was probably one of our favorite weddings that we've ever shot. Again, it was people that we know. The groom I went to high school with in Bloomfield, and this wedding happened to be in Puerto Rico in the rainforest in El Yunque, and it started out. I knew it was going to be a great wedding when this is the day before the wedding, and we all went out to karaoke. And so, like I said, we're going to be friends. I'm not just your wedding photographer. I don't care. You're going to be my friend, whether you like it or not. So we're all going to go out and we're going to have a great time. And so that's kind of the result of the first night. And this would be arguably one of my favorite wedding photos that I've ever taken, and it's because of the moment. Excuse me, I call it my $800 wedding photo, because that's how much it cost to repair the camera after it got soaked in the rain. But it was really just a powerful moment. So again, I mentioned that the wedding was in the rainforest, which the first word of rainforest is rain. We knew rain was going to be a part of the day. We knew that the weather was going to be a part of the day. This couple is just a very carefree couple. But you know, luckily the rain held off. It held off throughout the ceremony. It held off throughout the reception. We get to within about 10 minutes of the end of the night, and all of a sudden the skies opened up, and Michelle, the bride, just looked at me and she goes, my dress, what am I supposed to do? And I go, there's 10 minutes left in your day. You go out and dance. And so she went out and danced, and my wife got soaked. She was, so the light that is coming in from behind is my wife, my beautiful wife, who just got soaked holding the flash behind her. And we just got this moment of just this is what a wedding is supposed to be. It's supposed to be joy. It's not supposed to have rules. It's beautiful without having to work to be beautiful. It's just a moment. After the wedding, we were fortunate enough, we just decided that we were going to wander around Puerto Rico for a couple days in their wedding outfits, in her dress, in his suit, and we wandered around Old San Juan. I love this. I love this image just because, again, it's them being comfortable enough to be real and authentic with themselves. The next image as well. you don't need to see their faces to know the story behind this. They're in Puerto Rico. They're walking down old San Juan. This old man is playing the accordion. I mean, even if you're not there, I think my hope is that you can hear this accordion here. My hope is that, you know, the viewer knows the story of this image, and you know, without any question. We got crazy. This was the second day, obviously, because the first day we're not just going to ruin the dress, but the second day we decided to do what's called the trash the dress shoot, and we went out into the ocean, and they were out there for a good 30-45 minutes, and it was amazing. It was just a fun experience. I got a waterproof bag, supposedly waterproof bag for my camera, and put it in, and we were doing everything from underwater photos to getting the camera wet to rolling around. And one thing that I always love to do with my clients is not just tell them what to do, but I also like to show them examples of what to do. So one of my favorite images is me showing the client what to do. So again, we're going to have a good time. Telling the story, you know, this is the groom is placing the ring on his bride's finger. But I thought that in that moment, the story was of the father who had passed away recently. And I thought that it was, you know, we can always take a picture of a ring, but I think that story of his presence still being at that wedding in that moment was more important than a ring. And so you know, that's part of the responsibility of the role that we play in telling the story, is, you know, knowing what to capture, knowing what the real intent behind the moment is. And of course, this was same wedding, same moment, and it was a moment that touched everyone in the space. And so, you know, you've got some guys that probably aren't usually the crying type, but I think it was important to capture that emotion as well. I love not just telling stories, but creating images and adding drama to those images, using light that is available to us from nature, but also using light that is coming that I will bring along and I can use to help shape a space and help tell that story. So so the next few images will just kind of talk about how, you know, how we can, maybe some before and afters that can talk about how we can use light and how I've used light to create drama and to help tell those stories and help make them a little bit more intimate. This couple, beautiful couple, stunning couple, and the love that they have for each other is just amazing. I really enjoyed photographing their engagement session. We went to Central Park. We went all over New York City, but we spent a good amount of time in Central Park, and I was shocked. She actually brought all the decorations to decorate this boat and to make it, you know, to put some ivy on it and do some really beautiful things. So we really set the scene. And so I start taking photos. If you know Central Park, there's that bridge that's over the pond where, you know, where thousands of engagement and wedding photos have taken place. And I decided that I would stand up above the bridge and take this, excuse me, take this photo. And I loved it. And I think, you know, anyone would be happy with this photo, but I really, again, want to see how deep I can go into the image. And these two photos were taken no more than about 5 minutes apart, but I wanted to create something with a lot more drama and a lot more mood. So I was able to take that photograph, take the environment and darken it quite a bit. And my brave and trusting wife leaned out over that bridge with a flash and with a light that she was able to aim directly at the couple, but really keep everything else dark and moody. And I think it really kind of, you know, just gives you within the span of just a couple of minutes, gives you two completely different moods and in different environments for this couple. And I'm not able to see the chat, so if people do have questions, we can take a break anytime and go, or else I'm just going to be talking about myself for an hour.
Actually, can you go back to the boat, two back?
Yeah.
Did you have to change the color? Because the color looks like it matches perfectly with the ivy.
So in post-processing, I will do a little bit of color balancing and just kind of I wanted to add a film cinematic type of a look to it. And so yes, it was I definitely added just a touch of I added those greens to kind of bring out the ivy and just kind of accentuate the mood in that photo.
That is absolutely beautiful, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, we're back in Puerto Rico. This was actually the bridal suite. This hacienda was it's a beautiful place. It's a horse ranch, and in every room in the ranch has a different theme. And this room, which was their bridal suite, is also the library in the ranch. And so there are books and everything there. And this was at nighttime. But again, I love bringing my own light and my own drama. So I wanted it to look like some light was coming in through the window. So we put a flash outside of the window and had the two of them together in that space. And just another view in the same room, excuse me, as they were just being together. And I love the candles in the foreground, and just it kind of again just kind of sets the mood, and you can see some artifacts in the space itself. But again, I believe my wife was standing, that's the bathroom that's in between the two rooms, between where I'm shooting and where the couple is. And I think my wife was standing in the bathtub with the flash to illuminate them so that we could get that shot. So we do some crazy things. Another one of my all-time favorites. This is another couple. One of my former neighbors, actually, another Bloomfield resident, Wanda, who she and her husband got married. Gosh, I believe they've had their 10th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I think even considerably more than that. But we decided to do their engagement session, as you can tell, in New York City, and where they are is right on the sidewalk. You can see them embracing, and this photo again, you look at it, and it's a good photograph, but I really wanted to show the energy of New York City. I wanted to show them isolated in the space. So if you can look really, really closely at the light pole where 60th Street is, you will see my wife standing, hiding behind that light pole, and she has a flash in her hand. And what I also wanted to do was show the motion and the vibrance of New York. So I slowed the camera down, slowed the shutter down so that we could see a lot more motion in what's going on. So the next shot was the result of what we were going for there. And so as you can see, the couple is brightly lit. They're well illuminated. And I waited. I think we probably went through 5 cycles of stoplights because I wanted the yellow cabs. And so I'm waiting for the yellow cabs. I'm waiting for the yellow cabs. And finally, yellow cab showed up and the light turned green. And I was able to hold the camera still enough to keep everything still for the couple, but still get the motion of the cabs and people walking, but they were perfectly still in that space. And that, again, I think just because of that, this is one of my favorite all-time images. More from this couple, intimacy, just them being free to be themselves. And you can't really pose that. You just have to let people be them and then find a way to shoot it. And this club, this was at the hotel that we were staying at. We actually all spent the night, and this bar lounge, these were the lights. They were just blue lights, and the whole place had a blue vibe, and I loved every single bit of that. And I think it was probably happy hour, and there was stuff going on in there, and I didn't care. We were just going to walk in and take some photos. So we did that. And in the next photo, I did want to isolate them so that everything wasn't just blue on blue on blue. So again, brought in brought in a flash, and so I was able to control the light that was on the couple. Used a table that had a mirror type of reflection in front of them so that we could add some mirror reflection to it, and it just added a little bit of creativity to that shot, and again, just variety for the couple.
We got some NYC fans on the call, and they're loving this.
We had some NYC. All
Yep.
right, all right. Go Knicks. Aaron and Aaron. So this couple was amazing, and they obviously they got married. This was down in New Haven, down on the water, and it was a beautiful day. And everyone, of course, if you're down by the Sound, you're going to take some photos on the beach by the water. But again, you want to do something a little bit more, and I wasn't worried about bringing in an additional light or anything like that, but I just wanted to celebrate their joy and add some drama to it. So we ended up making this photo into a silhouette, and just again gave them the space to be themselves and to celebrate love and to celebrate joy. And that was the result of it. And it's again just a favorite, an all-time fave. This couple, same couple that was on the boat. And of course, this was we're still in Central Park, but that's the fountain. I cannot even guess how many wedding and engagement photos have taken place at this particular spot in Central Park, but hundreds of thousands of photos have taken place there. And so, you just want to do something different. And I saw the street performer that had the 10-foot bubbles, and he was blowing bubbles, and I slid him a 10 spot, and I said, you know what, just give me a bunch of bubbles by them, and I'm just going to keep shooting and just keep going until you run out of bubbles. And I love this image, but again, wanted to keep going until we got something absolutely amazing, and timing and lighting and everything lined up, and we were able to get the balloon right as it popped, and just got their embrace and got a ton of drama. And I think it just turned into the perfect shot. Downtown Hartford, Pearl Street, a bus stop that had, it was nighttime, and there was just just this image that was on the back of the bus stop. And so again, just trying to think about how we can do something different. And my beautiful wife stood behind the bus stop with the flash and fired the flash at that image, and we were able to create a beautiful silhouette from it. And so I think again, just it brought out some drama, it brought out some energy in that shot. We walked around to the backside of the same bus stop, and in just a couple of minutes, we're able to get just again a different photo. But yeah, that's just a different way of approaching it. Jamie, you had something?
And actually, yeah, I think I answered my own question. These two photos were related. These were taken at night, I'm assuming, right? You didn't have to do any treatment on these. Like
Correct.
the one on the bus stop and this
Right,
one were both at night.
Yes. Yeah, both of these were nighttime photos. Yeah. So I was just adding the light instead of subtracting the light like it was in the boat photo.
Got it.
We have a question about do you know how people end up hanging these in their homes? Like people are like, they all love these and say, they'd really want them framed in a big way. How do you have any sense, or do they tell you after or show you how they ended up?
Yeah, and that's something that I think is so important is photos can live on Facebook and they can live on social media, but photos are meant to be held and looked at, and they're meant to be a part of your home. One thing that is, as a Black person, as a Black man that is seen and experienced all types of weddings, one thing that I've noticed is I would attend a lot of weddings, and something that I would see at a lot of weddings would be a table that would be a generation table. And there would be generations going back to great grandparents that had wedding photos from the beginning of photography. And honestly, we didn't always have that at Black weddings. And it's not that we didn't want to, but we didn't have the resources to have those types of weddings and to have those types of to have literally that level of heirloom, of family heirloom. And so I think it's so important for us to start creating and archiving our stories and creating our own family heirlooms. And those can't, they can't just live on a hard drive. And I'll tell you from my own experience, most of my wife and my own and myself's wedding photos are on CD-ROMs. Guess what? I have to buy a CD-ROM. I have to actually go out and buy a vintage CD player so that I can, so that we can go and recover our photographs. And we have a bunch of prints and we have albums, but we received 600 photos and if those are sitting on a hard drive somewhere or on a USB drive, if you got married 10 years ago and I gave you a USB drive, that USB-C or USB-A or whatever does not work with the USB drive that you have right now. And so we have to think about how we are going to archive these images over the years. So yeah, we do have clients where I have provided them with prints, with frame prints of all different sizes. Wall art is just, it's important to be able to pass down from generation to generation. So this next image, obviously this is, just a kind of what we call a grip and grin. There was this, the couple and the couple is on the right and their guests are on the left and they're old friends. And we took a photo and they were standing in front of this iron sculpture that I was looking at. And I was in the back of my mind, as I took this photo, this was early in the afternoon, I said, we're going to do something different with that sculpture when it's time to take some of their portraits. And I like to sneak couples away. I would always sneak couples away during the reception because the party's going on. And, we would always take the family portraits and the couples portraits. And that's usually really, really high pressure because everyone's trying to get to the reception and trying to get to all these other parts of the wedding day that are scripted and they have to happen within a certain time frame. And usually towards the end of the night, maybe a half an hour before everything's done and people are just dancing, I would sneak the couple away just to do something a little bit more intimate between the two of them. And again, using light, I wanted to do something really, really dramatic with that iron railing there. And so I put one light on the couple and I put another light on the actual railings and put different colored gels on them. And we created this, which really kind of transformed the entire space, and he was able to shoot through with layers, providing depth, providing light, providing color. So it was really, really a dramatic portrait of the two of them. And I kid you not, no more than 15 feet away, everybody else is partying, but they didn't see what was going on, and they were really able to just kind of be in their own space. This is this is kind of I rarely shoot behind the scenes of the images that we take because I'm usually just kind of in the zone. So this is one of the chances that I really wanted to take a behind the scenes shot. This was the DoubleTree Hotel in Bristol, and the bride was getting dressed there at the hotel. And one of the things that we always do is take what we call detail photos. And it's photos of everything that they spent way, way too much money on: the shoes, the dress, the earrings, all of those different things. And so I'm walking and I want to do something different with it. Again, just not doing the ordinary. And so I'm walking through the lobby trying to figure out how to take a photo of this pair of shoes. And there was just, as you can see, the lobby's not sexy. There's, there's a water bottle, computers, a workstation. It's just, there's nothing there that screams out, okay, this is a beautiful space. But I saw the chairs and I saw the slits that were in the chairs themselves. And I said, you know what, if I fire a flash through that slit, I might be able to create something a little bit different. And in addition, that wall of glass kind of looked like a waterfall that was behind it. And so I said, you know what, let's give this a shot. So I had my assistant hold the light at one chair, put the shoes on the second chair, and fire the flash through it, and was able to create that as a dramatic image. And so luckily it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was kind of just create this strip of light down so that I could just light the shoes and Bagley Mishkers. So yes, she definitely spent too much money on those shoes, but we needed to document those. Perspective is everything. We have new tools that are allowing us these days to shine, to get new angles and new directions that we never really had before. I will not say whether I did or did not have my approved drone pilot's license at the time that I shot this, but let's just say that now I am legal. But this was just a beautiful wedding that was on a vineyard, and I just saw the lines and saw the composition, and it just happened to be a perfect moment. Same wedding, but just, again, these are things that 15 years ago we could never even imagine doing, and just to be able to have the freedom to to get up in the air and get angles and perspectives that we never could before. This was a beautiful wedding on Martha's Vineyard from a few years back. So really enjoy having some new tools of the trade for us to be able to do some different things. Composition is everything. How are we doing on time? Just out of curiosity.
7:15, we're good.
Okay, perfect. I love composition. I love thinking about, how we're framing these images to tell that story. I love symmetry and just, this was not a moment that was really set up, but it just happened to be the right place, the right time, and captured that symmetry and that powerful moment between father and son. This couple, and this was we're not afraid to trespass a little bit. So this is the campus of Wesleyan University. I think the door was unlocked, so we went in and wandered into this building. Now, mind you, in this photograph, what you don't see is the rowdy bridal party of 20 that was standing behind me as I'm taking this photograph. But we walked into this room and just everything lined up, and it just felt like a Wes Anderson film, and we just had to capture that. But then again, looking to do something different in the same space, I moved the bride closer to the window, and that gave me a lot more dramatic light. So the first photo was a beautifully evenly lit image showcasing the symmetry of the space, but the second shot is a lot more moody, and it's just with being able to play with light a little bit more. That's all natural light, but knowing to move the subject a little bit closer to the light is going to give us more shadows, and so that gives us more shadows is more mood. Storytelling. Very happy with this photo. This couple was an engagement session down at Harkness State Park, which is one of those places down close to Waterford, New London area. It is an absolutely beautiful park where if you go there at any given time throughout the day, there will be 15 engagement sessions happening there at the exact same time. So it's become a photographer's paradise. Anyone would be happy with a photo of this couple, but I was looking to do a little bit more storytelling here, and that meant moving around and looking for a little bit more in the story, and kind of looking for something that is going to lead the viewer's eye from one side of the photo to the other and know what's happening around. You're looking for context within that image. And to me, this looks a lot more, even though there's another person in the photo, this looks more intimate than just a photo of the two of them together. I told them I saw Venetian blinds with light coming through them, and they were in their house. This was actually officially before the engagement session started, but I went to their house and I just said, lay down on the floor. And so they did. And I love just the drama of the light and the shadow and the play between the two of them. this was fun. This was in this was actually a trade show that I attended, pardon me, in Las Vegas. And I photographed this couple's wedding about a year prior to this. And I told them, you know, and obviously they're a stunning couple. And I told them, you know what? I gave them about 3 or 4 days notice. And I said, you know what? I'm coming out to Las Vegas and you're out in Los Angeles. Get your wedding clothes together and just meet me in Vegas. And we went out to the desert and we just shot and shot and shot and just came up with some amazing images and really showcased their love. So kind of wrapping up, these are just kind of some of the mantras that I've always lived for, which, you know, when you're an active, as I said, it's a sport. So, you know, the first thing you have to do is be ready for the moment. You never know when the moment is going to happen at a wedding, at a reception, or an engagement session. So it's really about being ready for whatever happens in whatever moment. I love the look on her face. And, you know, if I was sitting there casually waiting, that shot never would have happened. See different, look different, get different angles. One of my mentors told me years ago, get low, get high, get near, get far. An interesting photo typically doesn't happen from the same perspective that we stand and look at objects. You know, the interesting photos happen when you look from a worm's eye view, from a bird's eye view, from far away, from really, really up close. So I think those 4 elements are pretty clear, and you can really, really see things in a different way. Be patient. Just wait for the moment to happen. It's not going to happen in one photo. You know, I stood there and just had this couple standing in this doorway for probably 5 minutes making out, and then this mom walks by with the baby, and it completed the image. And they enjoyed making out for 5 minutes in the doorway in downtown Hartford. Sometimes create the moment, you know, and the sparkler exit, which is something that as a bald-headed man with a beard, I love and hate at the same time, because there's, you know, 2000 degree, it's not a safe space, but it's something that can create some really, really amazing images. And if it's not an amazing image, trust me, it's an entertaining story. Use all the tools available to you. I told the DJ in this dark room to tell everyone to turn on their cell phones and just light the couple and or to light the bride, and it turned into something just really, really fun. And tell the story. So that is, well, in an original way. So this was the couple's Mindy. This was as you may or may not know, Indian weddings are multi-day ceremonies. So this was one of the days, the day when the henna is being painted and things of that nature. So pardon me, I've been talking for a while.
Wow, thank you, Keith. This is amazing and beautiful, and yes, perfect. Can you go to that next slide?
Sure. I'm gonna let you finish your sentence, but shameless plug.
I'm so glad you said this, because I was going to tie it in perfectly to where can we see more of your work. And did you know that it's the theme of Black History Month is about labor? So now I'm going to let you take it from there.
Thank you. So yes, right. You can actually right now for the next week, you can see more of my work at the 224 Eco Space Gallery at 224 Farmington Avenue. With the support of the Greater Hartford Arts Council, I was able to take the better part of 6 months last year and focus on a project that I've wanted to do for a very, very long time, which is photographing tradespeople in and around our Hartford community, and show just basically the unsung heroes, people that are working hard to keep our way of life going. And we don't think about them until we need them. And so, you know, our barbers and our body shop workers and electricians and plumbers and things of that nature. And another component of that show is also the people that work behind the scenes in the arts community. So people that are stagehands and electricians for our plays and shows, and sound engineers and lighting engineers. But it's a really it's a project I really enjoyed working on over the past 6 months. And we had our opening. The closing reception is actually going to be next Thursday. So we'll be having a closing reception on next Thursday, and really looking forward to that. I'm hoping that these photos will be displayed in some other locations as well, though that will be soon to be announced, but we're definitely in talks to have them in some prominent spaces. And do I know that that labor is the theme of of Black History Month? It was a beautiful coincidence. So I did not know until it was close to time for this exhibition to open. So it was actually a beautiful coincidence that happened. But you know, just to give some idea of some of these some of the images from this project, it was just a joy to shoot. And if you do happen to make it to the 224, you will see not only the photos, but you'll actually be able to scan a QR code for each of the images, where I sat down with every subject and talked about their business and talked about their craft and what they do and what they had to do to achieve the level of success that they're at now. So the goal really is to be able to open up people's eyes to young people's eyes to career paths and job opportunities that they may not have thought of in the past. So that's really the goal and what the hope is from this project.
So you can see it at the Eco Space until next Thursday, February 27th. Okay.
Yes, correct. Yes. And that's my information. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at TimeFrozen. If you would like to see some more of the Heart at Work project, you can follow Heart at Work Project on Instagram as well. And there's some of the interviews, as well as some of the portraits and all the socials.
And I'll definitely send that out to people who are registered and who came tonight with all of that information. We do have a question, and it's, is there a photo of Mrs. Claytor?
Is there a photo of Mrs. Claytor? I want to know who asked that question. Who just put me in the doghouse right now and threw me under the bus? Yes, there is. And
All right, that answers the question.
There's an awkward silence after that.
Does anyone have any questions for Keith? You mentioned
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah. I've always loved the name TimeFrozen, by the way.
Thank you.
What inspired that, aside from, you know, what it's describing, but what light bulb went off for you to go, I want to call what I do this?
That is an awesome question with a great story behind it. So when I first was interested in photography, so very brief backstory. Before my prior life, before photography, I was in the audio business, audio and video business for about 18 years, and I was on the corporate side. So I was a shirt and tie guy for a number of years. And I really wanted to explore my creative side, but I did not know how to do it. And one day I was walking downtown Hartford, and I happened to look into a room, and I saw this poetry event going on, a bunch of spoken word artists. And from that moment, I fell in love with poetry and with spoken word and that art form. That being said, I knew that I would never have the confidence to get up on a stage in front of a bunch of people and share anything that I wrote. But if you know spoken word artists, many spoken word artists have a stage name. And so, you know, everyone had that stage name and had their own stage names. And I was still just Keith Claytor, the weird guy with the camera that would come up and take pictures at all the poetry events. And one day, late night after one of the poetry slams or one of the poetry events, we were sitting there and going, you know, Keith, you need a name. You absolutely need a name. And so we just started brainstorming. It was literally brainstorming on napkins, and the name that popped up was TimeFrozen, and it stuck.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, you mentioned a mentor in passing, as you were talking about one of the stories. To give advice to somebody just starting out, do you have a way that they can connect with somebody who could be a mentor, or any other advice for people wanting to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, people, I'm an open book. And I think there's a number of photographers that are like that would, you know, that are open to give advice, and, you know, just whether it's passing advice or occasionally. And we say this carefully because, you know, a photo shoot that you're executing for a client is a photo shoot that you're executing for a client. And a lot of times we have people say, well, I'd love to just tag along on a photo shoot. And that sometimes works and sometimes does not. That's just being, you know, just being candid, you know, candid in that. But we will, you know, if someone inboxes me with questions or is looking for advice, yeah, I'm absolutely an open book, and would love to be able to provide some guidance, and or at least talk about my experiences. No, there is no right or wrong way, but definitely provide my experiences. I can tell you from my personal experience, I wanted to learn, and maybe it's just my stubborn way of living, but I wanted to learn everything that I could on my own, until I finally found a breaking point where I plateaued, and then I needed to get that additional level of support. And so, um, I learned how to take good photos by taking tens of thousands of bad photos, and that is the way to learn photography, especially in today's day and age. You know, there is no price of a bad photo anymore. It used to be the price of developing film. You don't have that barrier. Take bad photos to learn how to take good photos. I promise you, you will learn, you will develop your own style by doing that. And you know, that was one of the reasons that I really did not want to take classes early on in my photography journey, because I didn't want to go to a place where someone was telling me that this is a bad photo or this is a good photo, because I truly feel that that is subjective. And as long as the photo has a basic set of follows a basic set of rules, it's important to find people that connect with your work, and those are going to be the clients that you want. So so you know, make it a point to make your work look like your work, and be individual. So yeah, that's I would say probably the best advice that I could give there is, you know, experiment on your own, take bad photos, reach out when you absolutely want to, because yes, you know, like I will, you know, absolutely be an open book, whether it's technical or business, but you know, do as much experimenting as you can.
And can they do that with a smartphone, or should they get a real camera?
Um, that's a good question. I would say as learning photography as a hobby. And when I say hobby, you know, you can be an advanced hobbyist with a smartphone, and there are people out there making careers with smartphones, and using that for creating, you know, social media content and things of that nature. Um, if you are looking to do the type of work that is wedding work, that is portrait work, things of that nature, yes, you do need to invest in some quality equipment, and it's a lifetime investment. It's not a small investment, and again, there are there are ways to go about it, and I would never say, you know, you can't be a professional photographer going out buying a $500, you know, Canon digital Rebel camera. Um, but you do need to invest in some quality equipment. I know photographers that are teaching classes on photography that are leaders in the industry with some pretty cheap gear, but to be honest, if you plan on walking into any environment, you know, the challenging lighting environments, things like that, you need to have a basic level of equipment that can be up to the task.
Well, we just have some comments, which is mostly thanking you. People saying amazing work. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your moving photography and also sharing your process of catching them. And so I think everyone really liked what they saw. And do we have any more questions for Keith? He's the best.
That must be my mom. That was my mom's thing.
All right, Keith.
Well-
Well, thank you so much for everything that you shared. I'll send out the website and your information and a little bit more of the show coming up. So if anybody else has any questions, you can certainly email me and I can get that to Keith as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my story, and I'm absolutely grateful for it.
Thank you. We really appreciate you spending the time with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Everyone have a good evening.
Good night now.